Hey guys, we are in day 310 already in our Bible reading plan. We're just cruising towards the end of the year, Ezekiel 23 through 25 and Psalm 97. And today's reading, again, a sobering reminder of how serious God is about his ways. And but here's the big idea, which I think is encouraging. Here's what I drew from it. The big idea is an idea that I give you every day to try to summarize a theme for a reading for that day. Today it is this: that faith is trusting the goodness of God even when his will feels hard and his commands confusing. Ezekiel's going to go through a very confusing, difficult thing, and we're going to look at it together. Chapter 23, the Lord uses these sisters, Ohola and Oholiba, pictures of Samaria and Jerusalem, who've turned away from the Lord and become like adulterers, basically. And so the word of the Lord continues to Ezekiel, and he says there were two women. He gives this example, and he talks about how they will be judged. And so chapter 22 focuses on that. He says, behold, I will stir up in verse 22 against you your lovers from whom you turned in disgust. I will bring them against you from every side. So first, the sisters, Samaria and Jerusalem, turned to Assyria and Babylon, and they are the very ones that God will use to judge them. Reminder that God in his sovereignty uses even the people and the rulers that we do not like to accomplish his bigger purposes. Don't for a second think evil is winning when it looks like evil is winning. God is still in control. Verse 20 or 35 says, therefore thus says the Lord God, because you have forgotten me and cast me behind your back, you yourself must bear the consequences of your lewdness and whoring. Ezekiel just reminds me of how serious God is about his ways and his holiness, and we try to minimize it and act like New Testament all's good, but the very seriousness highlights and beautifies the glory of Jesus Christ, who took on all of this sin and judgment so that we would have righteousness. And then into chapter 24, he talks about the siege of Jerusalem. There's this picture given of the corroded pot and meat being cooked in it, and that corroded pot is Jerusalem. And you can't fix a corroded pot, it must be thrown away. And so in verse 14 of chapter 24, I am the Lord, I have spoken it, it shall come to pass, I will do it, I will not go back, I will not spare, I will not relent. According to your ways and your deeds you will be judged. And again, of course, we've said this every day in the reading of Ezekiel. It's hard to talk about judgment without talking about the fact that Jesus has paid the price for our sin. That is the point of Christ, is to show us his love and the magnitude of his mercy, but it entails following his ways, which is putting your trust in Jesus. Now, here's a difficult thing that God calls Ezekiel to. In verse 15, he says, you're going to lose your wife by day's end, and you cannot mourn her. And this is a picture to the people that Jerusalem would be lost, and indeed, that happened. And he says, the people ask, can you tell us what this means? And why are you doing this? And the Lord responds in verse 21, behold, I will profane my sanctuary. Thus says the Lord God, behold, I will profane my sanctuary, the pride of your power, for the delight of your eyes and the yearning of your soul, and your sons and your daughters, whom you left behind shall fall by the sword, and you shall do as I have done. You shall not cover your lips, not eat the bread of men. Anyway, he goes on and tells them that sin is not okay. And in chapter 25, he not only has judgment against his people who've turned from him, but now he shows judgment against the rest of the people who do not worship him. And so, again, is God a just judge? Always. And he's given us a way to find mercy always in the person of Christ. So run to Jesus and find mercy and accept his ways. Trust him no matter how hard the way feels to you today. I love you guys.